This video is brought to you by Cracks Only. The link is in the video description below to get the latest gear off their website. Whether you play football or you don't, there is something there for everybody. Straight out of LA. Check it out. Good morning, peeps. Happy 29th of February, man. Hope you guys are doing well. It's Thursday.
Leap day, Flex.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to me, happy 1st of March, mate. Happy 1st of March. Because I tell you what, you're right, Owen. This day shouldn't even be here. I'm glad you... Well, you had to remind me because it is just on with the next. So, yeah, to me, it's the 1st of March. If it's your birthday today, but normally it would have been yesterday. Big up to you. Big up to you guys. Big up the leap year gang. You know, big up the leap year gang. Smash a like on the video. In fact, if there's anyone in the chat who is
there was someone yesterday. Someone yesterday was saying that they're it's almost like they were 40 yesterday, but 10 today a little bit, you know. But they're technically 10. So there'll be people in the chat, I'm sure. That will be
shout out anyone.
Yeah, shout out to them. Absolutely. Yes, indeed.
Yes, big up to anyone with the leap year situation going on. A lot to talk about today. Again, look at that UV Members Club edition straight in, man. Like Fred Allen as well, straight in. Latest member of the UV Members Club. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Straight away, you know what it is now. We shouldn't have to remind you, but we're going to anyway, because that's just what we do. 250 likes. That is the benchmark. That is what we always like to set as the benchmark to hit. And then we go on and so forth from there. Also, this video is brought to you by Cracks Only. The link is in the video description below to get your Cracks Only merch straight out of LA. They do your boot bags. They do all of your training gear, your training wear, your grip socks, your boot bags, your backpacks. They also do track suits, hoodies, t-shirts, short sets, vests, gym wear, puffer jackets for the cold, beanie hats, you know what I mean? Everything. Snapbacks, everything is there. So check out the link in the video description below to get your Cracks Only merchandise. What we're going to be talking about today, well, the fallout or, you know, the extension upon last night, some of the manager's quotes as well, because Erik ten Hag defended Bruno to the masses yesterday. Liverpool quarter-final clash as well and everything else in between. So loads to get into this morning. Let us know how you're feeling. Let us know where you're watching from and get involved.
Yes, get involved indeed, Flex. Be sure to smash the like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. Hey, do you want to talk about Bruno Fernandes?
I do. I want to talk about Bruno Fernandes.
Talk about Bruno Fernandes and Erik ten Hag's defense of the Manchester United captain. Now, it's important. This is why I always say with these sort of press conferences, with these quotes, because you see them on social media, and without the question that is before it, or without the question that's been asked, they can look a bit sort of strange or a bit kind of out of nowhere, shall we say. So when it comes to Bruno, it's important to remember the questions that were asked. So the first question that was asked to Erik ten Hag about Bruno Fernandes in this post-match press conference was, did Bruno have an injection to play? What was the nature of his injury? We knew that he was a doubt going into it. So what was going on with Bruno? Did he have an injection to get through the game? And Erik ten Hag, unsurprisingly, said, I don't want to go into that because you saw that Forest was targeting him. So I don't tell what he has, but it was a serious injury. So the suggestion was actually, no, it was a serious injury. Yeah. When he's saying, I don't want to go into the fact that he had an injection, probably means he had an injection to play.
Absolutely. And then he says it's a serious injury straight after.
Exactly. It's a serious injury. He continued on by saying there were many fouls on him. Maybe I am a little bit too tough when he has the ball. They were really tight on him because that was towards the end of actually the presser. It was the last question from Simon Stone that said, Erik, did you say that they were targeting him? And he went, yeah, there were many fouls on him. He then said, then I see that serious media criticize him and social media is pathetic and it can't be. He has a serious injury, but he continued to play on Saturday and today. He also fought to be part of the game and he has a very high pain threshold. So twice he's got a serious injury. He's saying social media is pathetic, and he's not wrong about that, certainly. Yeah. And then he's even saying, and serious media, i.e. you guys in the room, were criticizing him as well. He could have come off at the weekend. He carried on. He could have missed today's game. He didn't. He played. He's got a high pain threshold. Finally, he said last year he did also something similar against Spurs and in the semi-final. Disgrace cheat. And it shows his leadership because that expresses his character. And that is very good when you're a leader. So Erik ten Hag really coming to staunch defense of the Manchester United captain there, saying that he has showed leadership because he got through the game, and also that he has a high pain threshold as well. Flex has disappeared. Phone call Fleck has returned. But how do I feel about those quotes? To be honest with you, I wasn't totally surprised when I saw them, to be honest with you, when he came out and defended the captain. Because, like I said, when you see them on social media, and I just saw them come out after the game, my initial reaction was, oh, man, he's really gone in on the media. Man, he's really had to go and put these media in their place. And then when you watch it, in reality, it's kind of a case of, oh, he was really more so, asked a question. He responded. That was about it. As far as his tolerance for pain and his availability, we know that about Bruno Fernandes, don't we? We know that he's consistently available through thick and thin, as he points out against Spurs. Was that earlier this season? Well, I think it was earlier this season, wasn't it? Or was that last season? Someone let me know in the chat. I think it was last season, actually, when he looked like he was injured in the game prior, and everyone said, oh, he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. He was sat there with his leg up in one of those like compression things. And then, of course, he's available for the next game. So his availability is there to be seen. I think the bigger thing, to be honest, with Bruno Fernandes in the game last night, and I know that it's at the end of the game and whatever, but the fact that the Nottingham Forest player didn't get a red card from VAR at the end of the game, frankly, is a disgrace. It really, really is. And I think that, to be honest, it wasn't spoken about enough. I think that obviously people were talking about the results and people were talking about the performance and the injuries. But when it does pertain to Bruno, and maybe this isn't sort of targeted in the way that Erik ten Hag's talking about he was kicked all over the pitch. But at the end of the game, that Forest player should have been sent off. And I tell you why, got his hand around his throat. And Casemiro got sent off for the exact same thing last season at home against Crystal Palace. And if the suggestion is of, well, it was towards the end of the game, so who kind of cares? No, I care. Manchester United fans should care, because that is ridiculous. And then Morgan Gibbs-White has the nerve to go on social media and be like, oh, VAR
he was a disgrace,
favoriting Manchester United because that should have been offside, or there was a block in terms of the goal. Breaking news, Morgan. VAR shit. It's rubbish. It doesn't do anything, as we've seen. And if, to be honest with you, you want to talk about, oh, they didn't chalk it off. They did everything in their power to try and chalk it off last night. You see how long they took. You see all the camera angles they do. They did it at the weekend with Harry Maguire when he scored. They went to 50 different camera angles I didn't even know existed in Old Trafford with the technology that we've got. So, no, don't complain about VAR. We can complain about VAR because
and it was different to the Endo one as well. That wasn't even the guy that was trying to get the ball. Like there was a guy, I don't know if you saw it on X, he was posting up why that actually wasn't chalked off versus the Endo one for Liverpool. And like Endo was like in a completely different position, blocking the actual player who was trying to get to the actual ball.
Yeah, and if
Varane was blocking somebody else.
No, side by side. Let's do the side by side of Casemiro then, holding the throat, because that's it. Because that was exactly. If anything, it was worse, the one on Bruno last night. It was.
And you know what? Yeah, that was that. Yeah, it wasn't a quick one. And you know what? I probably, because I was so, you go through the emotional things of the game, I wasn't really taking that bit in.
Yeah, I was like last night, I was like, it's a red card. I was like,
you was, and you was going, and I was in my head, because I was just, the performance, just want to get through. I'm thinking Liverpool. I was like, end of the game. I just wasn't computing properly, but you're 100% right. It wasn't until afterwards, until like everyone was saying it, I was like, oh yeah, actually, that's a piss take, because Casemiro did that to Will Hughes for like a millisecond. And actually took his hands off and went, oh, sorry, mate. Sorry. Yeah.
And it was literally VAR went back to that one.
It was VAR. No, you can't do that. When literally wasn't, and Andre Ayew was bloody doing it to Fred just before that in the same thing. So,
and that's one of those ones.
You should have got sent off.
I'm telling you now, Fleck, I am telling you now, if that was a Manchester United player and that was, let's say, 60 minutes, 70 minutes, they would have been sent off in that
Yes,
game.
100,
You
and
cannot
especially if it was
convince me
Casemiro.
otherwise. You cannot convince me
No, they
otherwise.
would
The
have. They
reason
would have.
why it was because it was at the end of the game, and they were like,
Yeah.
"Well, there's been a lot of time added on for that goal. Let's just get through it," which is bullshit.
Yeah. No.
But going back to the comments about Bruno, what did you make of what Erik ten Hag had to say?
Yeah, I think this is where it's important. Like, we have to separate a lot of stuff out. Yeah, so you got to take bits out and then focus on this bit, this bit, this bit, and this bit. In my opinion, with comments like this. So let's focus on the positives, right? About what Erik ten Hag's actually saying. Bruno Fernandes is incredibly resilient. Like, he is so durable. The guy's never injured. And he's basically opening up in this moment to say, forget performances and how you think Bruno's playing and giving away the ball. Park it. This is the positive part, right? He's basically saying, do you have any idea what Bruno's had to go through to make sure that he's always available? Like, he never moans. If he's in pain,
Well,
actually, wait.
Not the best use, not the best phrasing.
Context is key.
Yes,
I said forget the playing bit already.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah, and to be fair, even behind the scenes, he's probably still moaning because that's just how he is, right? But he never says I can't play because it hurts. Yeah, and what Erik ten Hag was trying to allude to was actually, for the first time in probably ages, Bruno was very close to not playing. And he did everything he could, probably an injection by Eric's reaction, but we don't know that as certain. But I would take that as he said it was a serious injury. Now,
I don't want to talk about that. Was it injection? I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, and like, I'm also thinking, how serious is a serious injury? A serious injury to me is an ACL. It means you can't play football. I would class anything where you can patch it up and play as a minor injury / knock.
Well, he's sort of, I guess he's suggesting that maybe
unless it's something long term, because he said Saturday as well.
Maybe he's suggesting that really he shouldn't be playing. Sort of going in reality, if we didn't have the injuries we've got right now, he probably wouldn't be playing.
He probably wouldn't. So
I mean, look, he also, when he was talking about that, when he's talking about serious media, saying serious media was having a go at him, and because he was referring to, I was reading the Sky Sports article on it this morning. He was also referring to the clip of him going down against Fulham and getting back up immediately.
He's got to be talking about that.
Yeah. And to be honest, I remember I can't remember what day it was this week. It might have been Monday when we were talking about that, and you said, "Oh, have you seen that clip?" And my reaction was, "I don't care. Like that stuff like that. I don't care about Bruno. I know that really annoys and aggravates some people when he does that, or moaning at the referee. I don't care about that because I've come to terms with that's who he is. He does that in the game. When we're winning, we don't really care as much that he does that. When we're losing, obviously, then we do care because it's like, oh, you're disgraceful, you're childish. But all I care about for him is performances. And recently, the performances haven't been great from him. So I get what Ten Hag is saying there by when he's saying, look, you're having a go at him for this at the weekend, but actually he was genuinely hurt, but no one will say anything about that. So look, he's backing his guy, he's backing his captain, and he should do that.
And this is the thing where what I was saying about you have to park the things. His willingness to play is definitely there, and his durability is definitely there because the guy's never been injured, so you can't take that away from him. His desire is there. Like, he runs himself into the ground every single game and covers a lot of grass. He's fit. He's very fit. He can run around. It isn't always good. It isn't always effective how he does it. But what I'm saying is the actual person in the engine, he just keeps going. He doesn't just give up and stop. But in the breaks of play, yes, very petulant, arms up, always moaning. Moaning at his own teammates when he's made a mistake and blames them sometimes, moaning at the ref when it's just never a foul. Sometimes he spends too long on the ground when the game's carrying on and we can see it's not a foul. You're not to get up. You're just moaning. And I'm going to push back a little bit because I do care a little bit. I do care about those bits because I do accept that's who he is, because I've been in that mode with Bruno loads of times because I love Bruno, right? Forget media access and this is why I'm being honest. I don't care about that. I'll say how I truly feel. Bruno was a guy, great, wicked, always comes up, says hello, smiles, got time for the fans, good. But I'm not going to shy away from like Bruno on the pitch. It's very frustrating at times because you want your leader to be sort of dragging the team through and encouraging everyone. And I get that's the way he is. But in the tougher moments of games where we're not playing well, it doesn't help us. I don't believe that galvanizes Kobe Mainu. I don't believe that galvanizes Marcus Rashford, who's not playing well. I don't think those actions help the rest. Now, it can go under the radar, and it's fine if, you know, he scores, or at the end of the day, he got the assist and we won yesterday. So again, I'm not, the two things can be both true. Like, I'm not saying that, like, so you would have taken him off yesterday, then who would have crossed the ball? Then we wouldn't. I've been the biggest admirer of Bruno, saying, listen, numbers don't lie, mate. He creates a hell of a lot of chances, and since he's come here, he's been our best player. But you just can't overlook, again, you don't have to immediately pivot away, like out of fear of being able to talk about something in its entirety, whether that's Eric, whether that's the state of the club, whether that's individual players. And that's one thing I will not shy away from, regardless of who I've met, who I've seen, what access we get. I'm not compromising them values. I just won't do it. So when I see the bad things or the things that piss me off about Bruno, I'm going to say it. But also I can appreciate some of the things that he does well. And I think when Eric Ten Hag's looking at that clip and saying everyone's going in on him, yeah, look, we're Man United, so everything gets hyper-focused, doesn't it? I mean, the clip going around, there was a clip with Scott McTominay last time we played Wolves where he wouldn't run back, apparently, you know. There was a clip of Marcus Rashford at Newcastle where he wasn't running. There was a clip of Marcus Rashford at Luton where he weren't running. Sometimes people do a bad passage of play of Bruno just spamming the ball left, right, and centre, and then it gets hyper-focused. We're Man United. But at the same time, some of them are valid criticisms. Like, Marcus Rashford wasn't pressing Ross Barkley then. That's bad. That is bad. Bruno tried to take a left foot shot, skied it, and it went somewhere. In my eyes, he pretended he was injured then. Looked around for the ref to say, give me a foul. Then gets up when the ball gets there and then carries on.
That's when you get into the splitting hairs, isn't it? Because he was looking for a free kick, but he was, according to Eric Ten Hag, legitimately injured at that point in the game, right? But that's the point Eric Ten Hag's making there, isn't it? But
then that's the whole thing of, like, he's playing through the pain barrier. But then there's our eye test, and we know the guy. Bruno in that moment is trying to win a free kick that isn't there. Let's just call that what it is. He is.
Absolutely.
He is. And as soon as he realizes he ain't going to get it, he goes, "Oh shit, the ball," and he's fine.
But this is the interesting thing with this. But he's not alone in that respect, because when it's 1-1 and it's late in a game, lots of players will do that, right? You know, so for me, I mean, if you keep it to Ten Hag's comments last night, I think it's a case of him being like, this guy really shouldn't have been playing. He strapped himself up. He played. He got an assist. You know, he's my captain.
He deserves credit for that.
You know, and credit to him for that. I mean, to be honest, two injured players. What is the game last night? Bruno, who Eric Ten Hag saying injured, Casemiro split his head open, heading the ball in the back of the net.
Exactly.
I mean, literally, that's pretty good.
And that's another one. Yeah,
and that
maybe from a concussion, got stitches, still put your head in where it hurts.
And that maybe sums up, you know, how just threadbare we were last night in terms of injured players had to win us the game. And when you think about the performance last night. Recently, we've been saying injuries are no excuse. Like, for instance, at the weekend against Fulham, injuries no excuse. Last night, I think in terms of the performance, part of it, you can go, look, injuries, that killed us. You know, you just got to get through that game. It's not going to be pretty, which I think is fair in retrospect. Is fair. When it comes to the wider Bruno stuff, this season, his performances, they've not been good enough. And from a captain's point of view, I really criticised him, the Luton game in particular, because that was not a captain's performance, what he did that day. If anything, it nearly cost his team the match.
Literally, his decision at the end of the game nearly cost us the match. Yeah.
But would you say what you want or what qualities people are looking for from a Manchester United captain? Are they looking for someone that, when they could miss the game at a time which, you know, after a terrible result, you know, and you need to win because the game's coming up, particularly one at the weekend, doesn't look very pretty. You make yourself available and you contribute towards the winner. And even in that game, because you're injured, you don't play that well, but you get it done anyway. And I do think there's an element of
all of them. I want all of our players to be like that. That's the attitude. That when you put the badge on, all of you should be like, I tell you what, unless my leg's hanging off, I want to play.
And
that's what I expect. Minimum base level.
And that is where I think last night does get interesting, because we're rubbish, right? We are rubbish. And the play last night was difficult to watch at times, absolutely. But I do understand what other people are saying when they're like, with the circumstances, if you take the game totally in context last night, all you want to do is get through it. And that's what we did.
And that's what we did.
That's what we did. And Bruno kind of exemplifies that of
just get through.
Really should be playing. Wasn't great, but got the job done. What does it mean for the weekend? Nothing really. Nothing really.
No.
But in terms of the game last night, it was just about going through with the people we had available. And even the people we had available were kind of like 3/4 available, maybe. So you just kind of get through. Like I said, comparing it to any other teams or anything like that, it's just, you can't really do that.
No, but then when we do, then that's when we realize we're shit. And then the conversation shifts again. And then people just go with injuries or shit because this shit. Then it just goes round. Ninth Earth says, Flex is quick to call out Bruno and Rashford and Anthony, but he won't say how shit was Garnacho last night.
Oh, Garnacho's rubbish. He's really
well.
in the game,
I don't think, Ninth Earth, you literally have not watched my post-match reaction. You have literally not watched my player ratings, and you literally have not watched what I said throughout the whole game yesterday. That proves to me you literally have not watched it. You just tuned in now and listened to the Bruno segment, because again, this is like what you say, Owen. This is just the Bruno part. Oh, so because you're talking about Bruno now, you're
not talking about someone else.
Oh, look at Rashford. I just don't get. And this is the thing about like opinions and stuff in it, about when you sort of enter the chat, because big up to Ninth Earth as well. You probably haven't seen the rest of it, so you tune in at this bit and think like, I haven't spoke about Garnacho. I spoke about Garnacho loads yesterday in 3 separate videos, 3 separate occasions, in depth about how poor he was.
And you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, because I recall last night talking about the game, saying we didn't play very well. Some of the senior players, again, weren't really pulling their weight. Some players, well, the majority of the people on the pitch are really, really poor. And then that gets, you're being really, really negative. Who cares? It's just about winning, going through. Then you say, like I just said a second ago, given the injuries, I suppose the threshold for a super high performance really probably shouldn't be there. It's just about getting through. You've got to get through. We're through to the next round. The response to that is, your standards are on the floor. We're rubbish. Don't bury your head in the sand. We're terrible. We're going to lose. And I think it was, shout out John Morgan. I think he was the one that brought this up on the Full-Time View last night. He said that, I think because there have been a portion of the fan base that have been so, get Erik ten Hag out, he's rubbish, he's this, he's that, get rid of him. I think it has kind of like galvanized or radicalized the people that are so staunch Erik ten Hag in. That both now are
they're
really
becoming
digging,
a louder.
Now they're both of them are really digging their heels in. So if you do find yourself in that kind of middle ground where you're like, these players aren't good enough, but Eric, you've got to try and figure out your tactics, all this kind of stuff.
You're not allowed to be
there. If you say that, then both sides will start trying to pull you. Go, well, which side do you on then? Which you've got to be on. You've got to be on one of these sides. And if you're in the middle somewhere, you can't win. Like you cannot win. And that's very curious. That kind of like back.
Well, you can't win even if you're on one side or the other. If you're staunch, Erik ten Hag must leave because he's clueless in that. Obviously, the other side are going to go, you're what's wrong with this club. The players are going to win. Don't give him time. Look at these injuries. Then if you're staunch, Erik ten Hag just needs more time. The injuries have killed us. He had a good season last year. One good season, one not so good season. What's wrong with that? It's a 3-year plan. It happens. Let's move. Let's go again. And then the other side's like, are you crazy? We've faced over this much shots. We're getting worse. This, that, and the other. Our goal difference is +1 or whatever it is now. Like, do you know what I mean? So no matter where you lie in this, it happens. But what we do know is, again, from doing this and just in general, like, this is what we are like as fans. In certain moments, everything's okay. So, probably this time last year, we just won the Carabao Cup. We'd just beaten Barcelona over 2 legs. Marcus Rashford was scoring goals for fun. Wout Weghorst was... Oh, what's happened here? Oh, we'll get there. Wout Weghorst was running around like a lunatic, and we were, 3rd in the league. So everyone was like, you know what? Or 4th-ish at the time. And everyone's like, you know what? Cool. Like, everything's fine. Then we say, yeah, he's had a good first season. Well done. He's dealt with Ronaldo. He's dealt with Maguire. Took the captaincy off. Done this, done that. Well done. Do pre-season. It's been poor this season. And now it's like, okay, the people who were staunch and Erik ten Hag in at the start, we got the right guys there. Can't stand him and say, get out. He's awful. They've literally pivoted the whole way with new evidence. And some people are like, nah, listen, we signed up for this 3 years, no matter what, just take your time. And you said you can't win no matter where you are. Danny, did you read Danny DeFito's? Have we read the super chats and the members chats?
No, but that one's not coming up for me, which is strange. But yes, we haven't read that one, no.
Just that one or the two before that as well?
I think we only did Fred Allen, new member.
Okay, do you know what? I'm just going to do them all again. Fred Allen is a new member. Big up to you, Fred Allen, because Fred Allen gets another big shout out in a minute. John James has been a member for 14 months. Says big up the UV family, Flex and Owen, the real Dons. Big up. Big up to you, John James. You're a real one, man. Big up to you.
Yeah.
Danny DeFito says, morning, guys. Just got fired from my job. Oh, as I didn't turn up because I told them this guy Fleck told me. Oh, right.
Flex, you bought in.
Me. I did. I was like, what's happened here? Hope he's all right. Hope he's all right. And now I don't even want to read the rest. Don't even want to read the See, and this is what I mean. Yeah.
Always read ahead, Flex.
Out of all the slander, I tell you what, that just shows the real nature of me. It shows
you're a kind and spirited man. Yes, you are.
Someone said they lost a job. What's happened? Are you okay?
Are you okay? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Have you got anything else lined up, mate? Are you going to be okay?
Is there anything we can do?
Yeah. Danny DeFito says, morning, guys. Just got fired from my job as I didn't turn up because I told him this guy Fleck told me this day doesn't exist. Ah, well. Anyway, on with the show. That was a red card all day long. Where's the card? Looked like the Undertaker, the way he grabbed Bruno. Yeah, before the choke slam, he just fucking grabs him. And Fred Allen, by the way, Fred Allen, not only has he just become a member himself, but he's joined the UV Members Club and gone, I tell you what, I don't want to be here alone. I want to bring 20 new newbies in with me. We're going to bring the new gang in so we can get to know everybody else. We're going to bring them all in. And he's gifted not 5, not 10, not 15, but 20 memberships. So big up to Fred Allen and all the beneficiaries of them. I'm not going to go through and read out all of the people who got it. Oh, no, actually, some of them are there. Wassa got a membership. Kenny, James Churchill, Chima also was got one. Stephanie Griffith, Jonathan Borg, IMH, Jetstream, Macarian, them clones. Who else? Gaspar United, Liam Clark, Novex, Priyan, and more. Lewis, I can see there. Inter Milan got one as well. And loads more. So big up to anybody who was one of the beneficiaries of Fred's gifted memberships. Welcome to the UV Members Club. Where are we at? We're at 189 likes. We are 250. 250 is where we are at. You know, that's what we do. We're at over 1,000 people watching live, and that is growing as well. So let's get to 250 likes, peeps. I know we can do it. Just before we move on from last night, Amrabat, yes. Because I think Amrabat and Dallo I want to talk about, but yeah, Amrabat, I feel like we can't go overboard, but like he did play like a player who was basically really rusty, hadn't been playing, and obviously playing out of position. And you said it, and we could see it. It was like in the second half, he grew into the game. He got this second win where he just went on these gallops and went, actually, I can actually come and take the ball here. Let me go and get more involved and make something happen, because McTominay wasn't passing through the lines and passing forward. He was just trying to get in the box and score. Bruno was doing what Bruno does, and Cass was as well. No one was really progressing the ball through the thirds in that second half. And I feel like he took it upon himself to say, right, picked his right moments to vacate that left-hand side and go inverted, which is a clear tactic from Erik ten Hag. We know that. Very deliberate tactic, but I think he deserves some praise actually, because he injected a little bit of pace into what we were trying to do yesterday.
Yeah, he did. First half, as you mentioned, he really struggled. Really struggled. He was against Divock Origi, wasn't he, on the left-hand side, and it was a bit concerning. Not only with the one-on-ones, he was getting overrun, overpowered, and he because he is a midfielder. When he's a left back and you're told, right, invert, get in the middle of the pitch, he gets really in the middle of the pitch. And he doesn't have that recovery pace. So it was like, if he gets caught here, we're in massive trouble. So he did. So he really struggled in the first half. Obviously, he did that pass and it nearly went to a Forest goal. But as you mentioned, in second half, you started to notice it a bit more. Once he became much more central, progressed the ball. And he goes on like these, maybe it's because of the way he runs as well, like proper Forrest Gump running. You know what I mean? Like back straight, like that. And he just kept going. Proper kept going. And he grew into the game. He did well second half. I don't think it really does too much about his future or anything like that. He's still
No,
going to be a United player,
no.
but he deserves credit. He played well in the second half. He did much better in the second half. Same as someone like Anthony. Look, I know that Alan Shearer was criticizing Anthony on commentary. I mean, to quote Lee Judges, I thought he'd done okay last night.
He did do okay. That was a proper
and again,
done okay.
It's a weird one because you have to compare it to the sort of the bar for Anthony is rather low, isn't it? But he out of the front three, I think he probably did the best out of the front three. Not that the bar was super high, but he did very well. I tell you, someone who continues to impress, and he is, I think, surging ahead in our player of the season is Diogo Dalot. He is our player of the season thus far. And I think that someone is going to have to really turn their performances around. Maybe Rasmus Højlund might sort of go a bit close to him for that, possibly, if he comes back and he keeps scoring goals. But it's Diogo Dalot, because in a team that really does lack quite a lot of technical ability, and it leaves a lot to be desired, the ability to pass the ball, trap the ball, move the ball around, Dalot looks so calm, composed. There was one point when he did a little pirouette, put the ball into the box a couple of times for the McTominay chances. His delivery into the box, you kind of just want, and maybe with Anthony last night, again, I know I just praised him, he did well, but if he did have a really top quality right-sided player that he could constantly link up with and do overlaps, then it would be a proper threat, that right-hand side, because he is improved. I mean, last season, prior to the World Cup, we were going how well he'd done. And then with the injuries, Wan-Bissaka coming back in, kind of dropped off a little bit. But even really going back to pre-season with Dalot, we were saying actually done really well, scored that goal against Dortmund. And he has been one of the most consistent players in an inconsistent bunch this season. So he deserves a lot of credit too. I think he's easily player of the season.
Yeah, he is. He's done really well. And I think he's put to bed the Wan-Bissaka thing now. I think we've known that for a while, but he really has put it to bed. Obviously, it's about keeping it going, because what we don't want is, invest your stocks. He's fine. Right back's okay. And we get a bit comfortable. He gets a bit comfortable. Then all of a sudden, we're like, Dalot, you're doing that near post thing again, where you don't look at.
He'll get competition in the summer.
And that's the key. The key is to get the competition in the summer that will either drive Dalot on, or the new guy who comes in is unbelievable, which is where we want to be. I also want to give Andre Onana praise as well, because he's performing well. He's definitely come out of that period of where he had just no confidence. Let's be honest. Like, when you look back at some of the things he was doing and some of the goals he was letting in, of course they were horrendous, but getting meaned every week, bad. Like, oh my God, this guy's not a proper goalie. Like, send him back. Like, what have we done bad? That's how bad the mistakes were. I've been there. I said, I've never gone. KG said, I'm done with him. I'm finished. I never went that far. I did say many times, I said, I'm very worried. There's clips of me saying that I'm worried. This guy doesn't even look like a proper goalkeeper. What is this? This is, and he has calmed down since then. He's doing, in terms of his fundamentals, like, forget the style of them, because they're always going to be, that's how he is. But in terms of keeping the ball at the back of the net properly and just not making any boo-boos, he's done that. And a couple of good distributions as well, where he set people up, where we're starting to see a little bit from him. So he's just growing in confidence, which is good to see him just be there. Don't be spoken about. Just do your job.
I think yesterday I watched the highlights back after the game. So I always like to do that, because sometimes when you're on the match view or you're doing it, sometimes you don't see things perfectly. So I watched the game back yesterday, and as you mentioned, all of the saves should make them. But that's not to say that you shouldn't be praised for making them at the same time, because I watched it back and I thought, tell you what, earned your clean sheet last night. You made some important saves. Forest, they might be a bit frustrated that their finishing wasn't so good, but that's nothing the goalkeeper can do about that. All you can do shots are pretty much all you can do is save the shots that come at you, and that's exactly what he did. And I've said it the last few weeks. I remember we did the Trinity podcast. I forget which episode it was. It was after the Villa game, and we had that discussion when it was like, did he? I think KG said, he deserves credit, and you were like, I don't know about the saves. I know games he should have made them. And my point of view at the time was, no, he was really unfortunate to concede that day. He made some really important saves. Even at the weekend when we lost, Onana made some important saves. And when we conceded the goals, I did see there still is, and I think it will always be the case. Maybe it's the De Gea hangover effect plus the really bad start to the season he had, Onana, that when every goal goes in, immediately it's, Onana, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But the last few games, I don't think, maybe the Luton one, I was a bit critical on that. I don't think he needed to come out for that. But that's kind of splitting hairs a little bit. He has settled and he has done better. I still say that his fundamental goalkeeping aren't going to improve that much. And you've still really seen that with the saves. Like that's exactly.
But he's keeping them out. If you just keep them
exactly.
out, then I don't care. It's when the fundamentals are bad, but you're doing the floppy wrist into the net. Like that's just those mistakes he was making were unforgivable. They were like mistakes of like literally somebody who's not a goalkeeper. Like that's how bad they were.
Exactly. But he has, he has settled into that. I still say the problem is that it's kind of wild for a keeper to be saying this, but that's not his strongest part of his game. But because we can see so many chances and they have so many shots against us, it's a disaster waiting to happen. That's why I think it's happened quite a lot this season. But no, he's done well. Kept another clean sheet last night, so deserves credit for that. Flex, do you want to hear what Erik ten Hag said about facing Liverpool in the next round of the FA Cup?
I do.
Yes, indeed. So this is what he said. Now, first of all, he was asked about the goal last night, saying, was it a big goal? Was it like a defining goal? And Erik ten Hag said, it's big. We want to win every competition. The team fighting, showing determination, passion and desire. It's back, Flex. Passion and desire. He also then said, they showed it today. We were disappointed after Saturday, but we showed resilience. We have serious problems at the back four. Happy Rafa and Bruno fought to be part of this game. It was so important, Bruno's assist. He then said it was hard to line up, especially the back four. It was a puzzle. We found the right formation and organization. First half, although we created chances, we allowed them some counters. He then said, after that, we took control of the game. We were calm, composed. We got the switches. We took control, didn't allow counterattacks. Very pleased with the second half, pleased with the spirit and desire showed. And then talking about Liverpool in the next round, he said, there are many good teams in the Premier League. Liverpool are top, so it's a very good challenge for us. We're looking forward to Sunday against Manchester City. I suppose it is worth pointing out about the game last night, like Erik ten Hag mentions, and we said this during the match for you too, we should have been 3-0 up in the first half. Legitimate, like not even like half chances. Anthony hits the bar, almost hits it too well. He probably should score. McTominay should score. Free header, right slap bang in the middle of the box, got a score. The other header was a decent save from Turner, to be fair. You could argue Rashford maybe should score as well. So it's not like this is what's crazy, isn't it? He is right in that regard by going, oh, we had chances. We should score.
We did have chances. We did,
which I think is worth pointing out. But when it comes to the quarterfinal clash, you can't not get up for that, Flex. Quarterfinal, FA Cup, Old Trafford. I know we're not playing well. I know we're not great. Get it. But that's a big game. And the hope would be by that point, that's the last game before the international break. So Leacher too soon. Hopefully after that, though, you might be back. But you would say Rasmus Højlund should be back by that point. Wan-Bissaka should be back by that point. So you'll have two proper fullbacks. Probably Dalot goes to the left. Or you never know. It might be Wan-Bissaka. He has done it this season. Mason Mount, they're saying he might be back on the grass. Who knows? Maybe we'll even have a Terrell Malacia appearance by that point. Perhaps. It's a couple weeks' time. So with that in mind, how are you feeling going into that? Listen, is your mind, is it too far away for you to compute?
No, it's not too far away to compute at all. I'm not going to lie to you. I was struggling not to think about that Liverpool game. Like when the draw got made before the thing, I was like, oh, Liverpool, fucking hell. Like, because we knew obviously last night's game was going to be tough. So you didn't really want to look too far forward. But now we can. And I don't care what form's been going on, how shit we've been. We've got a real chance to turn them over, man. It's a home game as well. The draw's been kind to us. You could say it hasn't because it's given us Liverpool, but it's a home game for a chance to be at Wembley, in the semi-finals.
Yeah, and I see people that are going, but Liverpool got a lot of injuries at the moment for this game. But it is worth reminding that a lot of their players will be back by that.
They'll be back by then, yeah. They've got Nunez and Salah out and stuff like that at the moment, but they'll be back.
You saw when they won the Carabao Cup at the weekend, the way that Nunez and Salah all ran on the pitch, like they're not a million miles
fine. They're just trying to make, and then they didn't play again yesterday and they put the kicks out. So
because they didn't,
they're playing for the league coming up now. Yeah, they're going to be back on it. So listen, they're going to be back. But you know, that marks a period where we play Liverpool twice at Old Trafford within a few, well, back-to-back home games, a couple of games in between away, but
And
back-to-back home games.
international break.
And
Yeah.
an international break. So listen, it's a massive game. Old Trafford against Liverpool. How can you not be up for that? You know, and I know there's been a lot of talk, negativity, you know, Liverpool going to hand us our ass, all this, that, and the other. Listen, F all that. Let's get to war. You know what I mean? Quarter-final, FA Cup, do or die. Old Trafford, Man United, Liverpool. Get up for it. Obviously, whatever happens, happens. And then we will talk about the game, whether people like it or not. We will have to talk about what happened in that game. But in the lead up to it, let's have it. There's no point being scared and being like, oh, mate, we're so rubbish. Oh, Liverpool going to mash us up. Like, just have to go for it, man. Liverpool can see chances in every single game. Like, a lot of chances. Like,
so do we.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
so do we.
Absolutely. But but that's what I'm saying. It's not like they're invincible and we can't score past them. But it'll be, you know, they'll be very tough to beat. We have to be on our game. We have to play a good game. But all the things we have to make up for in terms of technical ability, being clinical, and all these things that we say we lack, we have to make up for in the things we hate saying: passion, desire. Because this is Liverpool at home. Well, not at home or away. It's Liverpool. So,
well, yeah, when we beat them last season at Old Trafford, and I know it's a very different Liverpool team to what we defeated last season, because that's when they had, you know, Milner and Henderson and, you know, the older midfield. But that day we beat them by sheer brute force, basically. We were up for it more than them that day. It was Eric Ten Hag just lost the first 2 games, and it was like just Old Trafford was rocking, it was bouncing, and it was just pure like grit. Beat them that day. And to be honest, it's going to have to be the same, because I think when quality wise, we know that they've got superior quality or playing better. They'll play better football than us that day. We know that they're top of the league this season. They're aiming for a quadruple. All right. So of course they've got better quality, but if we are up for it and we show some grit and we got Old Trafford on our side, then why not flex? Why not? You know, you can't. Should we go into the game just being like, "There's no point, we're going to lose"? No, of course not.
I know it feels like that going into City. Going into the City game feels a bit like that. But listen,
that's the same thing. That's the same principle, isn't it?
It's the same principle. We did it against Liverpool. We thought we'd lose 9-0, and we
won't
beat them.
If we get a result of the weekend, it won't be by quality. Put it that way. You know, it will be by grit. It'll be by digging in, as you mentioned at Anfield earlier on the season, 0-0. Ride our luck. We've got hope basically that the opposition not have an off day, but they don't take their chances. Liverpool
didn't even create that game. It felt like a weird game, because that was actually a 0-0 game.
Yeah, it was just chances created. Yeah, it's poor. Arguably, we had the best chance of the game in Rasmus Højlund when he threw on goal. But that game, we got that point again by grit, by grit, fighting, dig your heels in. We went down to 10 men later on as well. But we got the point. And the same principle at the Etihad, and it'd be the same principle at Old Trafford. Dig your heels in, make it difficult, kick the shit out of them. You know, 100%. Do what you can.
And if Virgil van Dijk leaves crying again, saying, "Oh, you know, they got a 1-0 win, but there was only one team who wanted to win. You know, they sat off and made it boring or whatever. But we're in the flipping semi-finals of the FA Cup." I don't give a shit. The same way I didn't care that we just didn't get beat at Anfield when everyone thought it was, you know, lamb to the slaughter that day. And again, you know, Virgil van Dijk, you know, apparently best centre-back in the world, all of this stuff, best centre-back ever to live, ever to breathe air, the best centre-back to ever cross the white line and put his boots on the grass, the best centre-back ever there's been in football. He's what he is. He's what we're told he is.
Wow, he said after that Carabao Cup final, isn't they said I was finished, which is interesting because he's saying I'm not finished because I won a trophy that their fans last season said didn't matter at all and nobody cares about, which is quite curious.
Nobody cares about it. You know what I'm saying? Against another bunch of kids as well, by the way, in Chelsea. Yeah, you know what I mean? He was basically year 11s playing against year 5s, mate. Like, he was the oldest guy on the pitch, probably, wasn't he? Yeah, damn right you should score a header. Well done. Well done for beating up the year 5s. Well done.
I'll tell you what I did enjoy in that game. Did you see Ben Chilwell in that game? Getting really angry at all the young players. That was hilarious.
Yeah. some people are like, "Oh, it's a disgrace," and that. But then you have to look at the other way and say, "Listen, mate, you're in men's football now. I'm going to try and get you. Like, this is what we do. We'll wind you up. Can you handle it?"
He looks so, honestly, so just like every time we go to the young players, go like,
"Yeah, come on.
What are you doing, mate?"
Yeah, mate, I'm trying to rattle them, mate. Like one of these young lads, mate, they're playing at Wembley. They might stick the nut in. It's a gamble, isn't it? You could try and wind up someone like Conor Bradley or something. young at
But it's like
Wembley. He might stick the
was
nut
a
in and
throw-in.
get sent
One of them
off.
was a throw-in, and he
Yeah.
like, and he comes back. He goes like,
Yeah.
"Who are you intimidating, Ben Chilwell? You're not intimidating
it's
anyone."
mind games. You look like an absolute idiot if it doesn't work, but if it does work, you go dark arts, mate. Dark arts got to get in their heads. But it completely backfires. It's like the Mope thing. You're taking a big risk. You might end up looking like a right idiot at the end of it, but if you win, you look great. But yeah, it didn't work. But yes, to the Liverpool thing, yeah, exactly that, bro. Like we just have to believe. And if we get embarrassed and we get mashed up, then we'll talk about it. But we definitely ain't going to go into that game.
Not
just
allowed
being
to.
scared
Not allowed. You're not allowed to.
wow.
Flex. Can't talk about it.
Yeah.
If it's a negative result or it's a negative performance,
What did you expect? Klopp's
we've got
better
to move,
than What did
we've just got to move on. We've just got to move on. We can't talk about it. Skip it.
Sounding very Jurgen Fleckish.
Don't talk about it. You can't talk about it. You're not allowed to. We know we're rubbish. Don't talk about it, please.
Here's one for you, just for no reason. Tom Huddleston says, on my first day at Carrington, I came up and had a look at the lads in training. I was speaking to a friend on the way back home and said, there are two lads who stood out during that session, and one of them is a player called Kobbie Mainoo. He looks like a younger version of Yaya Toure.
I don't like the comparisons. I don't. I do agree with people when they go because they're trying to like pigeonhole him to make him like he's someone else. Why can't
maybe that's just what he thought when he saw it, when he saw it with his eyes for the first time in training? That was the first thing that comes to his head.
Already Flex is like, I tell you what, he's like Clarence Seedorf. He's like Yaya Toure. He's like,
mate.
yeah, or he's like Pirlo. He's like, he's like Frankie de Jong, but better. Like, can he not just be Kobbie Mainoo? Can he not just be Kobbie Mainoo? And in fairness to Tom Huddleston, I don't think he's anything like Yaya Toure at all. I don't think that's a good comparison either, to be honest with you. I think, I mean, they're saying the Seedorf one because he kind of glides around the pitch, very silky smooth, not super fast,
well,
but we always, whenever there's a good young player, and this isn't just a United thing, this is just a football thing, it's constantly trying to compare. It's the new Messi, he's the new Ronaldo, he's the new whoever. So no, he's Kobbie Mainoo. He's got his own qualities. He'll carve out his own legacy. And that is when I go, don't put like the Seedorf expectation on him or anything like that. We can't be doing that. And I know they do Stockport Seedorf just purely for the alliteration, I think, But
this is why I know it's a bit different and I did change my mind, but this is why right at the start, I did change my mind. But this is why right at the start, I was like, just the England thing. Just wait. Just let him. Let's not put too much pressure. And it was more in the ilk of that. I like I said, I changed my mind. I want him to go. I want him to experience going to St George's Park with the best players and go and mix it with, with Foden in training and play techie ball. And go mix it with Saka. Go mix it with Declan Rice and Kane with unbelievable finishing and those drills, quick, sharp, pop, 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 like that for him. Even that alone, being in St George's Park and just training with the group. And then hopefully making a matchday squad just to even be on the bench just for him, I think would be amazing. And I think also it would be an eye opener to the England setup where they go, yeah, he's holding his own here in England. Because doing it in United's training is one thing, but we're not that good.
Well, and the experience of taking him to a tournament, would be very beneficial.
If we could
it's just a case of what Gareth Southgate wants to do with those extra spots, because there are spots in a international competition squad where you take them, you go, I know they're not going to play. Like there's like 2 or 3 in there where you're like, they're just coming along for the sake of coming along.
It's either for vibes or they're young and you want to give them an experience.
Exactly. You want to go like, okay, are they super experienced? They're good around the place and they need some sort of senior pros, professionals there, or do I want to do where they're young and I want to give them a bit of this is what it's like to be with England going away and I'm showing faith in you. I think Gareth Southgate will absolutely go with the older people. 1,000,000%. Jordan Henderson will be in that squad, Flex.
Of course,
if he had a decision to make Jordan Henderson or Kobbie Mainoo, he would choose Jordan Henderson 10 times out of the week. That's what he would do.
He would, because he would see it as if it gets to the dying numbers of a game or we need a bit of experience to bring off the bench and help us. I wouldn't choose Kobbie right now. It's too early. I would always choose.
Well, it was not even like John dying embers of the game. He just loves him.
He might just start him, to be fair.
He was doing that in some of those qualifiers and those friendlies recently, wasn't he? Going, I'm still playing. When he was in Saudi, he's still starting. So maybe the better one is, who would he pick, Calvin Phillips or Kobbie Mainoo in that England squad?
Yeah, I mean, Calvin Phillips is way off it now as well.
But that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, people thought like,
He
well,
can't
with people thought, oh, because he's now got playing football at West Ham, he'll definitely go. But it's almost got worse.
He's got to play
isn't it?
good. Yeah, he's got to play good. But to be fair, you still got to cut him a bit of slack. It was only in January. So he's only been there, 29 days, isn't he now? So, and it's been a tough time. So he's been out for like 18 months, isn't it, Calvin Phillips? So, but good anyway. Leeds, scum, move, get out, put Cobby in. I'm Blue Abadi Abadai says, still think Cass is old and washed, ? And 19 months, I think I should make pancakes to celebrate it. He's been a member for 19 months. I'm Blue Abadi Abadai. Do I still think, or not just to me, it's just saying, still think Cass is old and washed?
I don't
think I ever said he's old and washed. And to be fair, his record since he's been back is we haven't lost a game. Well, the Fulham one, he had to come off a little bit earlier, and then we ended up losing. So since he's come back, we've done well. So we are better with him in there, but I still got question marks over, like you said, his decline in nature and just the style of what.
It's a combination of things with Casemiro, isn't it? I think Saturday was a brilliant example of this, whereby he struggled in that game. He did, he struggled to get around and bridge those gaps. Now that's partially because he's 32 and he's not the player he was 5 or 6 years ago. But also, it's because that system is flawed. The gaps are too big, as Jamie Carragher said. The gaps are too big. To cover that, you're constantly sprinting 50, 60 yards. You cannot do that in a game. And a great example is that when he came off in the game against Fulham, I keep doing the thumbs up. When we came off in the game, we did get worse, because if you've got better players in that role, you will do better. But I'm not sure that anyone can maybe do that role, particularly someone who's 32. So it's a case of, yes, he is on the decline, but yes, he is still a high quality player. In the summer, he's on a big wage, and I think he'll end up going because Ineos are clearing a lot of people out. But that's when you get into the extreme of he's washed, he should never play again. I'm not sure that's ever been said.
So you're saying right now, with the players that we have, he shouldn't start? No.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying, Flex.
Marcus S says, guys, just tuning in. What is the situation with the choke on Bruno? How is that different to Casemiro red card? Well, Marcus S, we literally, obviously you just tuned in now, so we'll fill you in. We literally said the same. Owen was saying, listen, that is a red card. That is why he should have been sent off, because Casemiro got sent off for the same thing last year. Less than
and
that.
will we get an apology for it? Are we going to get one of those PGMOO of... of going on the Michael Owen Howard Webb show? Are they going to do? This was this, and well, actually, are we going to get the comms released?
I'll tell you what, Mark Clattenburg, you're the new ref analyst at fucking Forest. Analyze that. Go in there and tell Nuno how lucky to get away with them there, mate. That should have been a red. Analyze why the refs and flipping VAR and that didn't send off your own player. Analyze that.
What we need to do, Flex, we need to do an Arsenal.
Why have they got him as an ad? Why have they done that?
We need to do an Arsenal and write to the PGMLO and complain, even though it won't do anything. We're going to send a strongly worded letter that we're not happy about the treatment that's been going on.
Have they? I don't get for it. Why have you appointed? Why are you paying Mark Clattenburg to come in and be a referee analyst? He is milking you dry. You got money to throw away. And you're going through FFP. You might not have no P's, and you give Mark Clattenburg money for that.
And do you think as well, because I think his thing is like to explain to them, I guess, refereeing decisions or whatever. Do you think he'll go to them, actually go, I tell you what, you got away with one there. Should have been red card.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, Owen.
He'll go, here's one. Don't put your hand around people's throats on the pitch. You might get a red card. You got away with it.
They're paying him, so we better go and tell them that. That's his job. Analyze the refs. Right. So after every game, they probably go, "What do you reckon about these decisions here?" Then, well, I'll tell you what, he should have been sent off.
Yeah, on the big pad, they did the big circle around the neck. Well, he grabbed in here. It was this action. That's a red card action and slow motion, Bruno. Go. That could be a red card in the future.
Could have been killed.
A load of nonsense. But VAR is rubbish. It's nonsense. Yeah. It's inconsistent. Get rid of it. I know that sometimes it gets decisions right, but the referees are rubbish regardless, whether they got technology or not. That's it.
Yeah. Danny DeFito says, just saw the news, Owen. The real legend called Virgil passed passing away, sad news. We'll always remember his storyline from back in the day. R.I.P. I do remember him from back in the day.
Very sad
NWO
news.
days,
Yes.
isn't it, man?
Yeah, he was Vincent in WCW. Virgil.
Yeah.
Got a tribute up on the channel to him. Yeah.
Yeah, check it out. Owen Wrestle News 365. Make sure you guys check that out. Ketchadil says Manchester United will never be successful. This new ownership vibes will vanish soon. Bloody hell. When Ineos start working, clubs will charge us premium price for players. Ineos will understand better than the fans are toxic too. Wow, Ketchadil thinking we'll just be this shit forever then. It's never going to change.
Well, there was a thing yesterday. The Athletic wrote about Mason Greenwood and possibly coming back to Manchester United, and the suggestion from Laurie Whitwell, I think it's Adam Crafton that wrote as well, was essentially that they think the reason why Jim Ratcliffe said what he said regarding Mason Greenwood is to actually strengthen United's hand in negotiations, because their mindset is, if we draw a line in the sand and say that, oh, he's never going to be coming back, then it makes it very difficult to sell him for a premium price. Whereas if you say, oh, well, he could be coming back, because the article also suggested that Greenwood actually isn't even really that open to a return to United. He'd prefer to stay in Spain, and he's happy there. And
he's got to weigh it up. You know, does he? He's had a year out where I've read that article, said he's got a private life. He's not hounded and stuff like that. If he comes back here, he's got to be ready for a lot.
Exactly.
A lot.
So the suggestion was maybe that it might just be Ineos kind of strengthening their hand, which does make sense from a strategic point of view.
It does. Guys, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thank you for watching. Where did we get to? We did get to 301 likes. It's all right. I feel we can get to 350 on the way out. If we can get to 400, even better. But I feel like we can get to 350 on the way out. We've read all the super chats. Thank you for everybody who's got involved. Thank you for the members chats. Thank you for the community chats. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the donation of memberships as well. Fred, Alan, big up to you. And big up to everyone getting involved as per usual. It's all eyes ahead to the derby now. I dread to think how that game's going to go. Call me negative. I don't care.
You're negative, Flex. I said it.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. We've got all the build-up coming up to that over the next few days, as well as anything else in between. Right out of here, guys. Take care. Peace.